in a nice sitting position. You could be sitting in a chair if needed. I'm sitting on a cushion on the floor. If you are more comfortable this way, you could put blocks under your knees. So let's get as comfortable as we can for our opening practices. We're going to be working today on lubricating all of our joints and kind of very gentle movement and stretches through the whole body, kind of one area at a time. And we'll be doing a 15-minute pranayama practice or maybe a 10-minute pranayama practice as well. This is a practice that's particularly good for kind of clearing and focusing your energy. So let's begin. We're going to place our palms face up on our legs. And you don't have to be sitting cross-legged. You could have one leg extended, or you could be kneeling, whatever suits you. I'm going to close our eyes. And we'll take a moment to really land and arrive in our bodies. So feeling yourself coming to center. And feel how your breath moves near the center of your body, even without trying. And feel the weight of your body on the earth. Feel yourself grounding and connecting to earth. And then lengthen up through the crown of your head as if you're being lifted by a golden string up into the cosmos. And that line between heaven and earth, between your tail and your crown, just got just a tiny bit longer, so that your vital energy can flow throughout the spine. So start to notice the waves of breath as they occur naturally. And you could imagine that you're flossing that breath up and down the spine. And maybe taking a little more air in and pressing a little more air out. We'll take a couple of more breaths here. And now we're seated and centered and ready to begin our practice. And we're in touch with our bodies. We're feeling what's within. We're going to start with our nose. Imagine that you're pressing your nose against a sheet of glass, and you're going to draw a little circle on that glass, maybe as big as a quarter. Drawing a circle on the glass with your nose. And then go the other way. Little tiny circle with the nose. And if you hear a lot of cracking internally, slow it down. And then let's go the first way and draw a circle maybe as big as a saucer. And reverse the direction of that larger circle. we're going to put our hands under our seat, so either under your cushion or under your buttocks. And that will just hold the shoulders down. And we're going to turn the face to look toward the right shoulder. We're just coming into an easy range of motion, so don't force that. And then to the left shoulder. So very gently and not too fast, swinging back and forth to look one way and the other. It's actually helpful not to go too fast because your body can tune in and relax and open more if we move more slowly. So let's go over to the right side. And we're just kind of going into that easy range of motion. You'll feel that resistance. You'll stop there, get a little taller through the spine. Let's find the breath again. So feeling that inhale that takes you up to the crown, and that exhale that settles you down to earth. And we're going to press a little farther, moving our head to the right. So now we feel a little more tension in the stretch, and find your breath again. And this is extra credit if it feels okay on your neck. You're going to nod the chin down. So you're going to feel that pulling more from your left ear along the shoulder ridge to your left shoulder head. Find your breath and settle into that stretch as we breathe. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And we'll return to center. So let's now turn to face the left shoulder. Lengthen through the spine. And then turn a little more to the left until you're adding a little tension to this stretch. We'll breathe a few times here. And nod the chin downward if that's working for you. And we'll take a few more breaths to complete this. And come back to center. You can shake out your hands. Let's lean back and stomp our feet. So I just lean back on my hands and I'm stomping my feet. And we'll come back to the way we were sitting. We're going to take a circle with the heart above the tailbone. And this kind of opens up the hips a little bit for sitting. And we'll go the other way. Back to center. So we've been working with the neck. Let's continue that work. We're going to take our right ear toward the right shoulder. Again, we're just going to move into a very easy range of motion. We're not really adding much force to this. It should be a gentle stretch from your left ear to your left shoulder. We're going to find the breath there. And then if you'd like to add a little more tension, we'll take that right arm and curl it around to the left ear. And at first, I'm just going to kind of let my arm be heavy. I'm not really pulling. I'm just kind of drooping my arm onto this, and that's adding a little bit more tension to the stretch. It's lovely if you can breathe into the tension and release the tension. Now I'm going to add a maneuver to add more stretch to the bottom of this. I'm going to take that left shoulder back, and I'm sitting on a cushion, so you could put your hand on the floor or your seat or maybe hang on to your cushion. So that's just kind of opening up the front of my outer shoulder. I'm adding that to the stretch. And now I'm going to very, very lightly pull downward on my head. So I've tested that out. I can kind of see what my neck feels like. And I'm really not adding much. It doesn't take much. These are very small muscles. So let's breathe into that. And we'll come back to center. Release our arms. And we'll start all of that on the other side. So the left ear, just leaning over toward the left shoulder. I'm trying not to let my shoulders move, but just lean toward the shoulder. Find your breath. So the breath is the key that unlocks all of the poses. Then possibly adding the arm, just curling around and letting it be passive weight at first. Plenty of breath into the pose. And add the arm, so reaching backwards on the diagonal, planting my fingers or curling under my pillow. I'm taking that shoulder blade toward the center of my back and taking that right shoulder backward. And then I'm going to press just very lightly down my hand just to kind of give that a little more tension. But I'm always just checking into that tension. I don't want it to be the kind of tension that I grip against, right? I really want that to be tension I can relax into. And let's take one more breath here. And come back to center, release your arms. Let's again stomp our feet. And we'll come back to our sitting position. So we're going to do some isometric exercises with the head and neck. We'll be pressing the forehead to start, and the head's going to press into the forehead. The hand's going to, the head's going to press into the hand's going to press into the forehead. So it's like a push-push. So hand on your forehead, and we'll do the push-push, head into the hand into the head. And you'll feel some muscles lighting up. So we're strengthening those muscles. We want the muscles of the neck to be strong, but also able to relax and release. So we're going to take that hand to the right side of the head and push, push. I'm just kind of around the temple area here. And relax that left hand to the temple. Push, push. Can you feel different muscles lighting up each time? And relax, and then we'll interlace our hands at the base of the skull and push, push. And relax. And then we're going to go in all directions. So right ear toward the right shoulder, we're just going to hang over there. This is the release after using the muscle. And then bring your chin to your chest, hang the head forward. We're releasing the back of the neck. Hang your left ear to the left shoulder, releasing the right side. And then if your neck is fragile, you may want to lift up and through the crown. Or if your neck is not as fragile, you can just let your Head nod back. We're looking up now. And come back to center. Put your hand on the crown and lift your hand with your head. Or if you've got a block, you can do this with a block. We're going to try to lift up. And what we're doing essentially is lengthening the spine. So lengthening the spine, that little bit of tension on the top of your head is your cue to get taller and longer. Let's put our hands on the side low ribs, and we'll take those elbows backward. You'll probably have to lose your block for this. We're going to glide the chin down and back. So elbows together and back, glide the chin down and tuck it in. And release. Good. So that's a pretty good workout for our neck area. Let's come into the shoulder area. We're going to start by putting our hands on our shoulders. And this is going to be a curl as we bring the elbows forward. And then elbows up and over as we arch, lift the heart, lift the chin. Exhale into the curl. Inhale into the arch. Exhale and curl. Inhale and arch. Exhale, curl. Inhale, arch. Exhale, curl. Inhale, arch. And come back to center. Let's go ahead and take these chicken wings that we have and make circles with the elbows. How big can you make that circle? And reverse the direction. Good. So we're going to continue to work on the shoulders and the upper back, but I'd like to come down onto the mat. So you're going to come down on your back with your knees bent, feet on the floor. And if you have a couple blocks and a strap, it might be nice to have them nearby. Sometimes we use those. So we're going to lie on our back, feet on the floor. Find your breath again in this new position. And we're going to reach our arms up above the heart to the sky and then take them back behind us. And here's where you may need your block or a cushion. If one or both of your hands don't come to the floor, you might want to put a prop there so that you can rest on that prop. Because if you can rest either on the floor or on the prop, then you can begin to relax. So we're opening up the kind of armpit area and the front of the shoulders. Let's find that sweeping breath that sweeps from your tail to your crown. So we're going to change positions. We're going to make goalpost arms. And so my elbows are straight out from my shoulders and my hands are reaching up toward the sky. And then I'm going to lean my hands back again, trying to touch the ground or putting them on a prop if they don't make it all the way. So you'll feel that we're lengthening the chest muscles here. Breathing unlocking the pose with the key that is the breath. And let's bring our hands back up to the sky. Keep your elbows planted there, and we'll take the hands down toward our feet. So we're making a downward goalpost or cactus shape. Again, you can bring a block under a hand if needed. And finally, we'll bring our arms by our sides. So we are going to roll onto our right side now. And we want probably to put something under the head. We'd like to keep the neck in a line and level. So if your head easily touches the floor, you can go right onto the floor, but you might want to bring, you could roll up the end of your mat and put it under your head, a block, a pillow. And we're going to bring the right arm straight forward in front of the heart. And the left arm is going to rest on the left hip. We're going to be using this left shoulder first. So this is a contraction. We're bringing that shoulder up toward the ear. We're contracting the muscles between the ear and the shoulder. And we're going to squeeze, and you can squeeze all the way into the arm and the hand. And then inhale and exhale. Let that shoulder glide back to neutral. So that's using the muscle and then finding the release for the muscle. Now we're going to bring the shoulder toward the heart. So we're contracting the front of the shoulder. Squeeze, squeeze that arm. Inhale. Exhale, bring the shoulder back to neutral. Now we're going to contract the muscles that run from the armpit to the hip. So we're going to draw that shoulder downward, and you'll feel some muscles here on the side, and we're going to contract that. Inhale. Exhale, release. And finally, we'll take our shoulder blade backward toward the center of our back. Contract that space between the shoulder blades. Contract the arm. Inhale. Exhale. And release. Good. So let me say something a little bit about the position of the knees. Let's bring the knees so they're straight across from the belly button. And then kick the toes out so that you can see the toes in front of your knees. We'll place that left hand on top of the right hand now for some arm slides. This is going to be a little roll back and forward with the left shoulder. We're going to roll forward as we slide the hand out and roll that shoulder backward as we slide the left hand up onto the forearm. So we're rolling forward and back, sliding that arm. As you get this going, close your eyes and bring your awareness between the shoulder blades. So let's all slide forward. And then as we slide the hands together, interlace your fingers and keep pulling that left shoulder backward. So we're hanging on, creating, again, an isometric situation where we're hanging on with the hands, but we're pulling backward. We're going to inhale into that. And exhale, release. And we'll finish this little series with opening the clamshell. So the left arm up and over to the left. And then closing the clamshell. And let your eyes follow that moving left hand. If you prefer to be right down on the floor for this, you can remove the pillow from under your head. We're going to do a few of these. Now this is a stretch for the diaphragm. Can you feel that in your center? That's your breathing muscle, especially as you clamshell open. And the next time you close the clamshell, again, we're going to interlace our fingers. We'll extend the index fingers and we're going to lift both arms. This is called the steeple, like raising a steeple. And we'll go up and down a few times, rolling through the shoulders. And you can let the head roll a little bit past. Good. Let's come back onto our backs with our feet on the ground. And we're going to do all of that on the other side. So you're going to roll to the left. I'm going to flip over so I can be seen talking to the mic. Find your breath again. Going to roll over onto the left side. We'll go ahead and put our knees across from the belly button, toes where we can see them. Maybe you're using a prop under the head here. Right hand rests on the right hip. Lift your right shoulder to the right ear, contract those muscles, squeeze the arm, build some tension. Inhale, release to neutral. Toward the front, shoulder comes toward the front, squeeze, build some tension. Inhale, and release neutral. Toward the hip, draw that shoulder down, squeeze the arm, tighten up the waist. Inhale and release to neutral. And then toward the back, squeeze between the shoulder blades, squeeze the arm. Inhale and release. Arm slides, we're going to stack the hands together and we'll be moving this right shoulder forward and back as we sweep that top hand forward and back over the bottom arm. The head's just kind of rolling along for the ride. Anything feels bumpy or tight, like the ride feels bumpy or tight places, just slow it down. Add more breath. Let's interlace the hands when we get an opportunity, and we'll hold the right hand with the left hand, but pull back through the right shoulder. So it's kind of a stretch while the muscle's working. And release. And clamshell open. And closed. We'll do this several times. And then we're going to interlace the fingers for the steeple. And we'll raise both hands. Raise and lower a few times. It's kind of a rocking motion. Smooth it out. And come down and rest. We'll roll back onto our backs. Feet on the floor. So that was a lot of love for the shoulders and the upper back. We're going to work the whole spine now with a rolling bridge. Our arms are going to lift up to the sky and come back behind us. So again, if you like to, you can put a prop here, a pillow or something, so that your arms have something to land on if they don't touch the ground. So let's start with our arms at our side. We're going to walk the feet in for bridge. For average proportions, none of us are exactly average. It would be touching your fingernails to your heel. If your knees don't bend that far, then just walk them in that direction. The main thing here is we don't want the knees to fall wide or fall together. We want the knees stacked right over the ankles. So let's try that. We're going to roll up the spine. So we're curling the spine, lifting vertebrae by vertebra as we lift the arms up and back until we're bridged up. Knees are right over the ankles, and then we're going to roll down. So we're going to do this a few times. Imagine that you're articulating the spine. Pearl, if your spine is a pearl necklace, it's pearl by pearl, moving up and moving down. Check your knees that they're not flaying apart. Let's leave our hands down for the next one and just roll the hips up. Press your hands into the floor. Press your feet into the floor. Press your shoulders into the floor. And lengthen a line from your armpits to your knees. We're going to take a few breaths here in bridge. If you'd like to come a little farther, interlace your hands, walk your shoulders under, and lift your chest and hips a little higher. And we'll release and roll the spine down. Lengthen the legs beneath you. Let's take the arms back behind us. We're going to point and flex the feet a little bit. We'll be working our way down the legs, but just a little release for the feet here. Okay, a little more for the spine. Arms at your side, feet on the ground, knees bent. We're going to articulate the lower part of the spine in the pelvic tilt. So imagine your belly button and the back of your spine under your waist is 12 o'clock. And your tailbone is 6 o'clock. We're going to roll from the back of the belly button down to the tail. You're rolling over the pelvis and through the lower spine. So we're just rolling back and forth. It's like a little mini bridge roll. And come to neutral between those two positions. Now we're going to roll from the right hip to the left hip. If your pelvis had a clock on it, this would be from 6 o'clock, no, from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. rolling side to side. And come back to neutral. We're going to roll around the clock. So 12 o'clock presses, that's the back of your belly button. 1 hip presses. 3 o'clock down to 6 o'clock your tail, over to 9 o'clock your other hip, and up to your waist again. So we're rolling around the clock. Try to make this a round roll, going through all the numbers. And your knees can sway as needed to create that motion. Okay, let's reverse our direction. And come back to center. So we're going to do a somatic exercise called lazy eights. Lazy, I think, because we're making a figure eight on the side, more like an infinity sign, right? Figure eight upright, but we're laying that on the side. We're going to start with the right hip. We're going to lift it up to do the first loop of the eight. Lift it up, swing it out and under, and then lift the right hip up, swing it out and under. So you're a little bit bridged up and you're making this kind of sideways figure eight in the air. And come down. Nice work. So a little more now for the side, upper side leg, the IT bands. We're going to stack the right knee over the left knee, and I've put my knees close together here. Arms out wide for balance, and we're going to sway the legs a little bit. You'll feel this kind of nice stretch along the side of the hip and back into the glute. Slow it down to body time, right? Slow it down so that your body can really make sense out of it and feel it. Let's grab our blocks. We'll put one on each side. And we'll go back into that cross leg sway. And we're going to take the block on the left side. And as we come over to the left, we're going to position that somewhere under the leg. It could be a number of places. Somewhere where it feels supportive, we'll come into a big twisted, roots twisted twist. So once you get your legs settled, we're going to let the head roll to the right. Legs are on the left, head's rolling to the right. That creates another twist up through the neck. Close your eyes, find your breath again, and we're going to follow the waterbed body with the breath, right? All of that kind of liquid movement of the breath through the body, the ojos. We're going to roll back to center. And we're going to slide the connection between our two legs so that we have the ankle now near the right ankle near the left knee. And we've got kind of a triangular shape between the legs. So let's take the right hand onto the side of the right knee and we're going to press it away and let it spring back. I'm not using a lot of force, but I'm moving the thigh bone in the hip socket here, kind of helping the synovial fluid that lubricates that hip socket to get well distributed. In fact, generally that's what we're doing in this practice. We're lubricating our joints. All right, press out and stay. The next phase of this involves taking a block and putting it under your standing foot, your left foot. So that brings the whole pose into more tension. Again, we're going to press out that right knee. And the final phase of this pose is taking your right hand through that triangular hole and the left hand on the outside of the left thigh and drawing the knees a little closer so that you can bind the hands under the thigh. If you can't reach, you can just go back to the block or use a strap. Now with the muscles of your leg, try to press that right knee away from you. Use the breath to soften the tension in the pose. And we'll release and put both feet on the floor. So we're working down in the hips and the legs now. Let's stack the left knee over the right, stacking the knees close, and we'll sway the legs a little bit. We're going to bring our block onto the right side as we lean the legs to the right and find support with the block. You may have to experiment a little bit. Once your legs are arranged, we'll roll the head to the left. Breathe deeply into the shape of the pose. And back to center. And we'll open that space between the legs by sliding the ankle back to the right knee. And we'll use the left hand to press the knee away and release. Lubricating the hip. And then press and hold. Next step will be to take your block under your right foot to add a little more tension to this. Final step will be to take both hands on either side of the left thigh and bind the thigh. Press that left knee away. And now you're using just the muscles of your leg to do that. Breathe into it. And release both feet on the floor. Let's lengthen both legs long down to the bottom of the mat. And we're going to point and flex our feet. Separate your feet so that you can draw opposing circles with your big toes. Other way. And we're going to come up, putting our elbows into the mat and lifting our hearts, coming up to seated. We're going to come into kind of a casual staff, meaning we're going to put our hands back and lean back on our hands so that we can work the feet and the knees a little bit more. So I'm going to draw my right heel back, step the foot on the floor, and then slide it long. Left side, back, and long. We're going to alternate sides. We're lubricating the knees right now. And if you want to add a little more work to this, you can keep the working leg up in the air. So we could do the right side maybe 4 times. And then the left side 4 times. Good. I'd like to focus on the feet now and the toes particularly. We're going to curl our toes over and scrunch our feet together. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then open the toes and try to spread them apart. Curl and squeeze. Open and spread. 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 And shake the legs. Good. So we're going to do a few neck exercises, and for this you'll need a block. We're going to start face down with our head on the block. Forehead on the block. You can make your arms wide so that they're kind of off your mat and out of the way. We're going to lift the head. And then with control, we're going to bring the forehead down and touch the mat on the right side of the block. Lift the head, touch the forehead to the left side, lift, touch right, lift, touch left. Let's come back to center. We're going to do 2 more of those. If you want to make it harder, you can stack your hands on your lower back. So lift, touch right, lift, touch left, lift, touch right, lift, touch left. Chin to the block, forehead, chin, forehead, chin, forehead, chin, and forehead. We're going to do one more thing, and this involves another block. So let's put another block, let's say in the right hand. You're going to lift the head, lift your block, take it down behind your back, hand it to your left hand, take it up to the head, hand it off to the right, down to the block. So the block is making a circle around us. Up to the top, down to the bottom. We'll do one more circle. Up to the top, down to the bottom. Let's rest for a moment. Put your left ear down, either on the mat or on your block, and the right ear down. Left ear down, and the right. And left, and right, and left, and right. Lift your head again. We're going to do our circle in the other direction. Hand your block off to the right hand, bring it up to the top, hand it to the left, sweep it down, hand it off. We're making a circle in the other direction. Top, bottom, top, bottom. One more. Top, bottom. Good. So we're going to press up onto all fours and lean our hips back. And I'm going to take you deeper and deeper into this. You can decide how far your knees will allow you to go. So the first step is to lean back a little bit or a lot. The second step is to put your head down as close to your knees as you can on the mat. This is Shashangasana. Hang on to your heels if that's available, or put your hands on the mat for more stability. And we're going to roll up onto the top of the head, stretching the back of the neck. And roll down. Okay, so we're going to complete our practice today with a few minutes of pranayama. And for this, we'll come back to being seated on the cushion or seated in a chair if that was your preference. This is a combination of breath designed for springtime conditions. It can be used anytime, but it's good for clearing the mind and focusing our energy. So we're going to start with the skull shining breath. It's a passive breath in and a forceful breath out. I like to think about that motion as being right here in the diaphragm. So you might want to put your hand on your solar plexus. Your diaphragm is under your hand. You can push the muscles in and out, right? So we're going to passively inhale, no pushing. And then it's like you're being hit in the stomach. You're pulling the muscles in to push the air out, forceful out, passive in, forceful out. If you can, do your breathing through your nose. So these can be slow at first. Or if you've had more practice, you can speed it up. Maybe even speed it up again. Now we're going to do a forceful in and a forceful out. It's the bellows breath. This builds fire. You can find your speed. and let that rest. Alternate nostril breath, we'll bring our index fingers up. We're going to block the left, breathe in through the right. Switch, breathe out through the left. Switch, breathe in through the left, or I'm sorry, stay, breathe in through the left. Switch, breathe out through the right. Stay and breathe in. Switch and breathe out. Stay, breathe in. I'm smashing my nostrils so that I can close it and breathe in through the other side. Switch, breathe out. So we're controlling which nostril the breath passes through. Stay and breathe in. Switch and breathe out. Stay and breathe in. Switch and breathe out. Stay and breathe in. Switch and breathe out. We'll do one more round. Stay, breathe in. Switch and breathe out. Release your hands for a moment. Take a couple of natural breaths. Our final breath practice is Surya, like the sun, Vedana, and this is called sun-piercing breath. And we'll be sending the breath in a circle, so it's kind of a one way through the nostrils. So we're going to, again, use our fingers. We're going to breathe in the right nostril. Hold the breath in. Breathe out the left nostril. Switch so you can breathe in the right nostril. Suspend the breath. Breathe out the left nostril. To the right, in through the right. Hold. Out through the left. Do two more rounds, in through the right. Hold. Out through the left. Final round, in through the right. Hold. Out through the left. And release your hands. Let's take a moment to notice how we feel. So breath work really moves our energy, changes our energy, changes our mood and our feeling state. So let's check in here. See what kind of sensations you feel. Notice your mood and your state. So this would be a great place to start a meditation from. But in this case, we're going to close our practice today. You can go on and meditate. We'll bring our right and left palms together, bringing the sun and the moon together, placing your thumbs at your heart. May all beings be happy, and may all beings know peace. Namaste.